Hello, it's Kristen and welcome back to my channel. Today we're making the sponge cake for the letter S in the A to Z Ghibli food series. You can find this cake in the movie Spirited Away during tea time at Zaniba's. The first thing you're going to want to do is get a 9-inch circular cake pan. Next, get a 6-inch by 3-inch cake pan with a removable bottom and cover the outside with aluminum foil, making sure there are no holes. You'll see why later in the video. Then take some parchment paper and line the bottom and sides. At this point, preheat your oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. In a large bowl, get your egg yolks and mix them until they are combined. Add some sugar and mix well. Next, add the milk and mix. You want to mix the eggs until they start getting a little foamy. Then add the vanilla and the oil. Whisk until the mixture is foamy on top. Next, sift in the flour and mix until just combined. Try not to overmix the batter at this stage or else the cake will come out tough, and you'll knock out all the air you just whisked into it. In a small bowl, whip the egg whites until they become a little bit foamy. Once foamy, add the vinegar, mix it in, then gradually add the sugar. Once all the sugar is incorporated, whip the eggs until they get to the stiff peak stage. You can definitely do this by hand if you love a good workout. Either way works, as long as you get them to those stiff peaks. Now, bring that egg yolk batter back. Something I like to do when making an egg white supported batter is fluff up the egg yolks a little bit before putting a significant amount of egg whites in. I like to use the remaining egg whites on the beaters and incorporating that into the yolk batter. I'm not really sure if that makes sense or works in any sort of culinary scientific way, but I like to do it, so your choice on that one. When the egg yolks lighten in color, you can move on. Alright, once you've scraped down the sides of the bowl, add in 1/3 of the egg whites and fold it in until no large chunks remain. But don't go overboard on the mixing at this point, you still want it a little streaky. Then add another third and do the same thing. I like to spin around the sides and once in a while come in from the bottom just to break up the big pieces. Add the last bit of egg whites and again fold them in carefully, this time until the batter is uniform. If you have large chunks of egg whites, gently break them apart. Otherwise, try not to break the foam or mix aggressively. If you put a dollop of batter on top of the mix, it should be able to sit on top for at least 10 seconds before completely disappearing. Use a smidge of batter to keep the parchment paper from moving, then carefully transfer the batter into the cake pan. Using a wooden skewer or toothpick, gently swirl the batter to pop any bubbles. Then tap it a few times so any remaining bubbles rise to the surface. Next, pour just boiled water into the large cake pan, filling it to about 1/2 inch. Be careful when handling the cake pans as they may be hot. I baked mine for about 60 minutes and then it wasn't cooked, so I cooked it for another 15. To check if it's done, poke the cake with a skewer, and if it comes out a bit moistened but with no cake batter on it, it's done. After removing the cake from its water bath, gently tap the pan to release the cake from the sides and bottom. It should already be pulling away from the pan a little bit. Take off the parchment paper. This would have been way easier if I put it on a cooling rack first, but no biggie, we got there. Then flip it onto a cooling rack. Take off the aluminum foil and remove the cake pan and parchment paper. Flip the cake back over and cover it with the cake pan until it's fully cooled. When it's fully cooled, you can cut it and serve it. In terms of taste, it's definitely light in texture and not very sweet. My one and only complaint is how eggy it tastes. I find it difficult to cover up the egg flavor in sweets that use egg whites as a leavening agent. Even upping the amount of vanilla didn't really do much other than making the egg taste more vanilla flavored. So in the future, I think I might play around with adding lemon zest or even some cream cheese into the mix and seeing if that would help. Other than that, I had a lot of fun making this sponge cake, especially at the end when I could squish it. This is the one time everyone is allowed to play with their food because this cake is so squishy. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.